buyer's list of 20, and if you get to them and say, hey, I can get you in that house with no money down. No money down. They have no idea about an FHA program. And buyer assistance, come on. It's like almost taking candy from a baby. If you lost everything today, everything, money, house, everything, this one strategy you could make money to survive on every day. Okay? Yes?
So can you help me connect the dots with this FHA loan?
It's on. You just need to get closer to the mic. Be a star. Be a star.
With the FHA loan.
Much more of a star. Love it. Yes. Love it.
With the FHA loan, if you get something under contract and you got to send it out, you blast out an email to all your potential buyers, how quick can they get this FHA loan under their belt? Or do you have to get them to pre-qualify first?
It takes about 30 days. Now, you just threw in a wrinkle. What if they don't pre-qualify? Then we may have to go a different direction. But it's going to take at least 30 days.
Okay, but if they pre-qualify, but are they now qualified to go anywhere with that?
They can go to any bank that offers FHA insured financing. FHA, by the way, is going to act just like Fannie Mae, just like Freddie Mac does. All they do is they insure the loan. They can get the loan at Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, ABC Bank of Las Vegas. As long as they do FHA financing, first home buyer financing. Hottest on the market right now. Yes?
Okay, so once they're qualified, do they now have a mortgage in their pocket? They can go to your competitor and buy them?
I got a feeling that when you work with them and you create, what is this all about? Relationships. You create the relationship, you got them. You're telling them about that, hey, I can get you in this.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You got it. Thank you. Was that your Elvis impression, Peter? Right on, man. Right on. Has everybody got this? Who's doing this? Who's going to do this? Okay. All right. If you're not going to do this, don't worry, I got more stuff. I got more. You want to buy a watch? You know what I mean? Anyway. An option. Let's talk about this. Another great significant technique to use in today's market. Let me explain why this is so powerful. An option is an agreement to buy or sell a property on or before a specific date.
I'm a little slow off the gift. Can we back up one slide? Because one little question on it, please. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Well, somebody's probably thinking this. They're just a little bit farther behind me.
So, can I just get through this? Should I just not finish this sentence, or you just?
Yeah, let's go with my thought.
We'll go. Right on. High five it.
Your thoughts written down.
High five it. High five it. Hold on a second. I'm writing this in your damn file right now.
That's good. So,
Okay, go ahead.
Look, getting back on the strategy. So I've got this thing locked up, 30 days due diligence. I'm at day 6.
Yeah.
Billy Bob shows up. I give him all the info. 30 days later, he can buy it. So what happens in that 5-6 days after due diligence?
Yeah. So what does that tell you right now? You should, number one, ask for an extension, or number two, if that's your plan, you know you've got to work a 45-day due diligence.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if there is some bridge financing.
30 days is not enough. So in your addendum, if you ask for 30, that's fine, but in your addendum, buyer has the right to extend due diligence period for this upon these terms. Maybe another couple $100 in earnest money. Something.
Perfect.
Got it?
Thanks.
Good? All right. Hold on. I'm still writing in your file here. That's BS right there. I'll tell you that right now. So, anybody else got any questions before I start this sentence? Good. An agreement to buy or sell property on or before a specific date at an established price. Now, what's interesting about an option, they have options on stocks as well. And an option gives the person that is buying that option the right, I want you to write this down, the right, but not the obligation to buy that or to exercise that option. Does that make sense to everybody? So the reason I like this strategy today is because we are at a very much a defined bottom with regard to the real estate market here in the States. When I was sitting at lunch, maybe just after, I was talking to some people and they said, you know, I'm a little bit nervous because I feel like I'm going to miss the window. Does anybody feel that way? They feel like they're going to miss the window? Okay? I can appreciate that feeling. These are my thoughts. Even though we're much closer at a defined bottom in May almost of 2012, I think we're going to play very much a bottom feeder for a while, a scavenger, if you will. We're going to be coasting along the bottom here for a while, and then it'll start to go up eventually. But I think the window here, and I don't want anybody to get complacent on this information. I just feel like we're going to be much closer to the bottom for a longer period of time. This is a chronic issue that we have here. It's not an acute where it's going to go bounce right up. So hopefully that mitigates a little bit any feelings that you would have with regard to missing this. Please don't misunderstand that for I don't want you to take action, because I want you to take action right now. Please be proactive. Was talking to somebody at lunch and they were telling me about opportunities they had, and they were telling me about the money-making opportunity, but they didn't grasp it. I'm telling you, you've got to grasp those opportunities today. You can change a market that you're in, right? Right? If you control that market, correct? Right? So, not pointing out anybody or naming any names. So, I want you to consider options. What does this mean? This means that if you know where a property is hot, the property Steve just bought, he just closed that up here, the property in itself is a C. Not that attractive, 74 units, low income kind of thing. But that, what is it? Stinky. There's showers upstairs, Dallas. I mean, oh, you meant the property. I got you, right. So the property itself isn't that great with respect to its condition, but what is attractive is its position. How about that for a play on words? Forget the condition, its position. That's what makes that so attractive. There's all-stars all around it. All around it. Across the street, right behind it, right in front of it. Heck, there's a kitty corner to it. There's a brand new, probably within the last, 3 years, Holiday Inn, built, brand new, beautiful. So I want you to consider something like that. On that particular property would have been great to put an option on. If you target a property and said, man, that's a good one there. I may not have the money to buy that or the credit to buy that today, but I know I could probably give that seller $5,000 or $10,000 for a 4-year option on it. Why 4 years? Well, it's 2012 today. I really think that by 2017 almost, that this country is going to see a little different real estate market. I think it's going to take that long. We've got some things to iron out here, there's no doubt about it, but I think 2017 is the time that this is going to really turn around. I don't like the forecast, but that's just kind of my feeling right now. And it's not turn around like it's going to go sky high, but it's going to turn around where you're going to have a noticeable equity difference. And we're going to look back at 2012 and say, I wish I would have bought more property then. The problem is not all of us have the resources yet, or we haven't built our teams yet with that resource. But doesn't mean you can't participate in that growth. Let's just say we're looking at Steve's property and $3.2 million. In 4 years, because that's such a land play, I would really consider that property to be worth, at the very least, probably the $4 million mark, maybe, by then. If everything happens, no guarantees, things can go a different way, the economy can go a different way. But I think it would be appropriate for someone to put an option on that property for $4 million. Now that may cost you today $15,000, $20,000. But you've got to weigh your odds. If you exercise your option and that thing is truly worth $4 million and your option is worth 3.4, is that not a home run? In other words, I'll give you $20,000 today so that in 4 years I can buy that property for 3.4 million bucks when it's worth 4. Does everybody see where I'm at? When that happens, you've just created your down payment with a commercial lender through a commercial mortgage broker to buy that property. That's how you create your down payment out of thin air. It takes some foresight. Almost said something different there. It takes some foresight, but I really think that you need to start gearing yourself in that type of position. Why today? It's critical. Why today? In 2007, wrong move. No options should have been done. The smart people were turning in options during that time period. The smarter people were in 2002, 2001, 2003, they were creating options. 2012 is a time for options to be created. So when you're driving around and you see a hot property, I want you to think about the option play. Steve.
John, would you offer, if you're trying to tie something out for 3 to 4 years, where do you get the option, the exercise price today?
The 20,000 bucks.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, where do you come up with the purchase price today?
Oh, yeah. What's interesting about that is a couple of components have to be put into play. Number one, you got to know your market. You absolutely have to know your market. What I know about that, where that property is along 44th Street there. It's so close to the airport. This point of time in the United States of America, the areas that you want to focus on more are where the airports are in the major metro areas. In 50 years, all of the development will happen around the airport. They're calling them now metro ports. The city to lead the country in that with its development plans, anybody know what that is? What is it? What did you say? Atlanta, without a doubt. Atlanta will lead the nation in this airport development. Someone Google that at the break. What Atlanta's going to look like in 50 years around that airport. Major development there, okay? So I would be looking at that market there and putting options. What I like about Steve's property in Phoenix, I keep thinking I'm in Phoenix here, in Phoenix is because I think that same thing is going to take place in Phoenix. That metro airport development. It's going to be a center, an epicenter of social activity, living, transportation, commerce, everything. So I think Steve's property has the ability to do that. In Chicago, by the way, I'm also going to talk about some kind of higher level creative stuff like this. And Steve and I are going to implement one of those specifically on his property there as well because of the way it's positioned. Not its condition, but the way it's positioned. Okay? So stick for that. Any questions so far on this one, on options? You've got to identify a property, and the property has to make sense. If you don't feel that property is going to go up in value, options not needed there. Don't worry about that. This would probably be more for areas like Steve talked today, where there's a defined difference between replacement cost and current value. He hit the nail on the head when he talked about that. We are at a very rare time in real estate today when the replacement cost is well above what you can buy that asset for today. That's why I'm so excited about it. There's not too many times that this happens. This juncture of value being below replacement cost, low interest rates, all of these things that have come into play, we won't be here forever. We may be here a little bit longer, but we won't be here forever. So again, I would challenge really everybody to look specifically at this technique in your market where you feel that real estate is going to go up, specifically for people that have properties in which maybe they need some income. They need some money. Yes. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, me again.
Right.
I waited this time.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. In terms of, a 3-year, 4-year option, I know it's legally binding, but say the vendor decides they want to get out and start selling, sell in 2 years,
Yeah.
is there,
They can't sell without going to you first. You've got an option on that property.
so if they want to sell it, as long as it's,
They've got to give you first right, and typically options always have first right of for
that would
refusal.
be our price line, right?
Yes, unless you've negotiated something differently, but they've got to come to you first. They can't sell that property while there's an option in place on it. That's part of what your option fee secures.
So if it doubles,
Option, you've got an equitable interest in that property. If that property go right to your attorney, the attorney sends the letter to the new owner, the previous owner who you had the contract with, and one more entity. The cops? Did someone say the cops? Jerry. The county? No. No. The title company. Why? Because the new buyer, hopefully, got title insurance on it, and guess what your claim is going to be with that insurance for that property? So you're secured. It's almost a secured note, and you don't have to record it, as long as you do that within your time frame of that option. Does that answer your question? Yes. Charles. Charles, let me help you out, brother. Let me help you. No, here, watch. You don't even have to do that. All you got to do, hold on. You just got to squeeze the trigger. Yeah. Boom.
I know.
Okay, right there.
So, John, how do you convince us, or not a seller, but the property owner to go for an option? And what are the...
Again.
Well, wait, I want to, because you're not going to give me the chance to talk, so...
Because you would talk forever, Charles.
Yeah, so, and then what was your success rate in asking people for options, and what are the typical, talk sort of how that conversation would go?
In my career, I put options on 2 properties and I didn't enact them. Just how the deal worked out, I didn't enact them. But you have to know a couple things. Number one, you've got to know your market. You've got to be confident in that your market is going to increase in value to exercise or to put in an option and then eventually exercise that option. Number 2, you've got to know the property within that market. What is distinctive about that property? In Steve's case, with Charter Palms, what's distinctive about that is it's the worst house on the best block. The worst house on the best block. And that's a perfect scenario to put an option in. You have the right to buy it at this price, but not the obligation. So in 4 years, you've got the right to buy that at 3.4 for, say, $20,000. Now, there's a little risk there. You might go through that 4 years and pay that $20,000 and not get anything out of it. But if you feel like that property is going to go up in value, which I think it has a great chance, then that option is now an equitable interest that has value on the open market. You can sell that option to another person. Who would I sell this particular option to? I'm thinking of the Radisson hotel chain. I'm thinking of the Hyatt hotel chain, Hilton, so on and so forth. You get my drift here? Okay. So I think there's a lot of play that you all could do. Guess what? Options, it's not like the first technique I gave you. This one you need a little bit of cash, and you need some cash that you can part with for a little bit. And you've got to be able to accept some risk. But you've got to be almost certain that that property is going to go up in value over the next 4 years, 5 years. Some people put options on properties 20 years out. Of course, that option fee is going to be a little bit higher. But, big developers, they have options on land 20 years out. They'll pay $100,000 for a multi-million-dollar piece of land for a 10, 15-year option on it. $100,000 today, in hand, cash. You can see why, oh boy, here we go. You can see why an option would have some merit, wouldn't you? Can you see how you can use that? Yes.
So you're ramping up my paranoia. So
I'm ramping up your paranoia.
well, say I do the deal on that one in Phoenix. How do I know he doesn't have an option sitting somewhere else?
So you're paranoid. Paranoid schizophrenic?
No, just paranoid.
Okay, because I was going to say if you were schizophrenic, you'd probably come up there and go, I'm not schizophrenic, either am I. Anyway.
Both need to be up here.
Okay, so say that again now. What?
So, I think I answered the question. I'll answer it for them. My concern was I go to purchase it as a normal purchase, you know, buy the multi-unit place.
And you don't have the option on it.
No, but I don't know he has an option.
That's right.
But then the title insurance takes care of all that. I don't have to worry about
That's why you have title insurance, so you're covered. If you don't, guess what? Your property's probably going to get taken away.
it. Right, so title insurance is a good plan.
Title insurance is very, yeah. Appreciate you coming up here. So, okay.
What happens if you put your money down, your 20,000, and they file Chapter 7?
Yeah, that's a risk that you would take. You would lose your money. So the other thing is you've got to know the third thing I was going to get to is you got to know your owner. You got to know what kind of financial position they're in. You got to kind of extrapolate that out. You got to kind of extrapolate that out to, you know, that time period and say, is there a chance they could file for BK? Sure, but what is that? You've got to weigh your odds. It's not something that's risk-free.
And let's say after 2 years, can you get your money back if you want to cancel that option?
No.
It's gone.
It's gone. It's gone. Yep. So there is some risk there. That's why I said you've got to be certain about your market and certain about your property. I know that in a lot of the markets we go to, and a lot of markets you all have been to and are focusing on, over the next 3, 4, 5 years, properties are going to double. Phoenix, great example. We were there not too long ago for our 5-day, and we had some excellent realtors on our buses. And they had specifics, just like Derek does, and the other realtor here today, about inventory and the decline in inventory, the increase in demand, and what that does to price. They know, they can almost tell you that if that continues, those prices are going to double. And they're at least going to go to replacement value. Steve said that today. I absolutely agree. No one, like novice investors, they don't know how powerful that is. That is huge. That's why options today are so important. You've got to think about purchase price. That's why you got to know your market. That's why you got to know your price. So in Steve's property, for instance, you've got to know that because of its position, that's what adds value. Steve was absolutely right to jump on that because of the seller financing, because he's in control for the next 5 years. Absolutely in control. And I think he's got some great marketing opportunities with that. Not so much an apartment owner, but when the other agents come in, and for those of you, the Platinum students that were there for the due diligence, when those other agents say this is a land play, they're absolutely right. But you know what the play is on it? The play is marketing an option on it right now. Absolutely, positively.